I see you back in the night chat. I see you. Give me back, Scotty. Everybody, thank you very much for coming back tonight. Tonight we are having a response to Answers in Reason. If you were here last week for the interview, we had Joe and we had Dave on, and come out with a video the other day, new one, 10 questions for atheists. So we thought we'd give it a wee bit of a go, give it a wee bit of a notice. So on that note, we will run the intro. We will get our guests in tonight, because it's not just me, we have other people. So back in a sec.
Multiple guests.
Multiple guests, people who are here, like whatever you want to refer to yourself as. The people who are on my panel, you know. We have tonight, we've got Stephen at the top, then next we have got Savage, then we've got Fabio, and Willis is joining us tonight, Mr. Willis. He will be coming on the next episode of Canon Wars. Watched the first one, thought it was brilliant. If you haven't seen it, you just need to go and watch it, because it's fucking brilliant. So other than that, yeah, if you just want to introduce yourselves for the people who don't know, Stephen, we'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Stephen. I run a channel where I play the absolute wonderful game of Goat Simulator, and that's all I do. And I hop onto other people's live streams to boost the sex appeal. That's all I'm here for.
I haven't seen the Goat Simulator yet.
Wait, but wait, hang on. I'm so sorry that I'm commandeering this. Unironically, you've never played that game.
Goat Simulator, no.
It's the greatest piece of shit, stupid, waste of time game you have ever played in your life. Yeah. Smoke and joy and play that game. Holy God, it's like a religious experience.
What do you do as a goat? Well, okay, I guess what you do is lots of goat-like things. Okay, right. Yeah. Well, Miss Savage.
Hello. 'Tis I, Savage Minnow. I stream Friday mornings with my mom, Savage Mama, and we do a stream called Gamer Mom Cooking, where sometimes we cook, sometimes we play games. We usually judge people on Reddit, and I don't know, maybe we'll try some Goat Simulator this week. I think my mom would probably get a kick out of it. I don't know. We'll see.
It's auto ad, Phoebe. Remove yourself. Remove yourself.
I also stream a couple other times during the week. I'm trying to get like an actual schedule going, but that's the best stream, really, if you want to see my shit. Also, we're gonna get Diana a kidney, so like that's my current goal. Stay tuned for more info on that.
Fabio, you're up next. You're just
Hey,
he's Fabio.
Fabio. Cheers.
And I said, Mr. Willis, you don't have a channel or anything like that, just new to the community, coming in and getting to know all of us mad Egypts, like.
Yeah, I'm just getting involved more heavily in the atheist community. After a series of personal tragedies, I did what everyone does and threw myself more into my religion. So I've upgraded from calling myself a skeptical deist to calling myself a Gnostic atheist. So I'm quite staunchly anti-theist at the moment. I try my best to be reasonable with people. If they don't push their religion down my throat, I don't push back too hard at them. But yeah, gold star atheist this end. So.
Perfect. Thank you very much, man. As I say, welcome to the community. Hopefully you will see more and more of you. Open panels and all that. They're always welcome to jump on. So I can't see Phoebe in the background. No one else can. Where's that button I see? Phoebe, how long do you need? Oh no, she's not even there. She's in the kitchen. All I can see is the kitchen camera. Right. So we're going to go with the questions anyway. We shall start them. And we shall see how that goes. It is only 5 minutes long, but I'm sure with all of us having this chat, it'll take a wee bit. So we'll swap to that. Yep.
I just want to say that I somehow turned an 8-minute video into a 3-hour stream. So I mean, hey, anything's possible.
I'm just glad you're here. Then that's some skills. That's some fucking skills. So, Savage, you ready? Yep.
Yeah.
First question. Has anybody, before we, I've told everybody we're doing this, but I don't think I give much warning. Has anybody watched the video? It is only 5 minutes long. Or are we all going in completely blind?
No. No idea.
Is this a recent one?
Like 2 days ago, yesterday.
Okay, then completely new to me.
Right. Brilliant. That's what I wanted. Nobody has a...
I'm going in as immaculate as the Virgin Mary was not.
Nobody has a clue what
like
we're
it.
talking about then. All right, has a clue what it's about.
right.
Okay. Tell me you can all hear it.
Hello and welcome. I'm
Yeah,
Joe from Answers in Reason. Answers in Reason is an atheist site and channel that tries to promote good conversations with both theists, atheists, and other forms of non-theists
Waffle, waffle, waffle. Yes, you're lovely, Joe. We all know you're lovely. All right.
online. We like to discuss philosophy and science and, a bit of theology here and there. Recently, we posted 10 questions for theists, and so far I've been really enjoying the responses as they've been coming in, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing them with Dave in the future. As I've enjoyed them so much, though, I figured it would be good to ask our atheist and non-theist viewers the same sort of questions as well and see what you guys think. I'd really love some video responses, if you can, to feature on our channel, but if you just want to leave them in the comments on YouTube, that's absolutely fine as well. Question 1. With there being a number of different types of non-theist or atheist, what label do you use for yourself? And what does that mean to you?
Can never... Right, was the audio coming through? Was it all...
It was a little echoey. But
Yeah, I was just going to say, is it? Yeah, was that just me?
Doubled up
Is that
for
just
sure.
how it's coming through, or is that the video itself?
Well, it's coming... I'm sending it through 2 feeds and my mic's right here. So it may possibly cause you an echo.
Okay,
Is
okay.
there an echo for the audience? Because if there's an echo for the audience, then we have a problem. If they don't have an echo, we're grand. You can deal with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Exactly.
No, like it's not unbearable. It's just
right,
you
we
know.
can understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
It's
turn the
just- I'm
fucking
noticing
volume
it.
down a wee bit. There you go. Right. There you go. Okay. First question up then. And Savage,
Who goes first?
you're, according to it, you've just got the slot. According to it, you're in the #1 slot on the stream. So, come on. What label do you use to describe yourself, and what does that mean to you?
Well, a lot of people are going to hate this, but typically I just use the term atheist. Oh, give me 1 second. Usually I just use the term atheist as far as like colloquial like terminology. If people are like, what religion are you? I just say I'm atheist. But specifically what it means to me is a lack of a belief in a God, not a non-belief in God. Okay, we're gonna get like
This is a
pedantic
philosophy
like that.
channel now, and they're going to be reviewing this, so they will pick on you. Be pedantic.
Yeah.
but yes, that's what it means for me. But I will just use the term atheist, and then if there's like really kind of any type of pushback or like questioning, then I'll explain further from there. Usually I'll just kind of like leave it at that. I don't like to just like give people a giant word salad like when they're first are like, oh, what religion are you? A lot of times I'll even just say none, like none, because usually that's the question: is what religion are you? Not are you religious? So
Which God do you not believe in?
right, and none of them. Yeah. So that's usually how I leave it. But
I think that was.
But I'm also a person who tries not to get tied up too much on labels. So
Next in the queue would be Willis.
So, I'm a lifetime atheist, gold star atheist, if you will. I used to sing in a church choir. I've always liked and still like hymns, but I've never really believed in any kind of supreme being. I spent a very long time calling myself a skeptical deist, so I still do think it's possible, hypothetically, that God sort of set up the physics and then just let the universe run itself, but I 100% am absolutely convinced of, or I know that there's no such thing as an interventionist God, as Nick Cave would say. And so nowadays I call myself a Gnostic atheist. So that means that as far as I'm concerned, I know that there is no interventionist God. I also pretty much think I know that there's no God of any kind at all. So I'm certain there's no interventionist God, and I'm extremely skeptical that there could just be some kind of being which exists outside of our universe and can't really exert any control. Certainly no no macro scale control on our environment. Prayer does absolutely nothing, could never do anything. The idea of it's ridiculous. So I pretty much get more convinced that there's no God all the time.
I personally think that like the idea of prayer is like abusive of like the person who's like doing the praying. Just like
absolutely.
Dave, you should come in here because you have an interesting belief about that. Oh, did Phoebe jump in ahead of me? No, I'm going to have to go next. Right, next in the queue then will be me. And to annoy Dave, Dave hates this. Dave wants me to define myself as an atheist because of his arguments and his this, that and the other and all the rest of it. But generally, depending on who I'm talking to, I don't like fucking labels. We discussed this when I was talking to Answers and Reason, but I would go with agnostic or agnostic atheist because I would be very atheistic towards the Christian God because that can be, in my opinion, proven to be wrong. It's very contradictory, it contradicts itself, but the idea of a God in general, a supreme being or whatever, there could be one that walked around and farted and fucked off and never come back again. We can't know. So I would stand on the agnostic or agnostic atheist, and I'd say that pretty much describes what it means to me as well. So yeah, we all happy with mine. Stephen?
So I worship cats as a profession. Cats are, of course, gods in the ancient Egyptian times. So yeah, that's my religion. I worship cats.
I don't have my.
I'm joking, of course it's not. I would kind of be pretty much the same as Willis. I would kind of define myself as a Gnostic atheist. Definitely in terms of like any sort of like kind of specifically the Abrahamic gods, like just no. Mormons, I mean, it sounds just ridiculous just on the surface. I mean, like, Jesus was from fucking Missouri according to them, which like
what about JWs? That's weird.
That is, yeah, 100%. But yeah, no. In general, I would be agnostic towards like almost all gods, but specifically with the Abrahamic gods, no, definitely Gnostic towards that.
Right. Phoebe, you slipped in ahead of Fabio in the lining on screen, so we will let you go next. We always save the best for last anyway.
Well, why am I not last then?
Aha. Your ego's last, but you can go now.
Well, there you go. Well, first and foremost, I'm a skeptic. That is the first label that I get. And then the second label is I'm a former theist. And then I am an agnostic atheist. Because you cannot be a pure atheist or a pure theist if you are also a skeptic. Because my opinion is that if you are a skeptic, you should be open to reason, debate, and argument changing your mind. And if reason, debate, argument, and evidence can change your mind and be presented to you in a way that changes your mind, then you need to be open to that. So if you close yourself off and say, I am a complete atheist, there is no way that a God can exist, that's not skepticism in my opinion, because you have shut yourself down to the reason and you've shut yourself down to evidence being presented to you.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we can go with that. Fabio, don't say that Italian.
No, I'm old school, so you will have to define. You'll have to tell me the claim before.
Well, the thing it is what label do you use to describe yourself,
No.
and what does that mean to you?
You can see it.
Right, and I would say that it depends on the divinity claim which is presented to me. I
like that answer.
This is why we brought Fabio
we're talking
on.
about the Abrahamic God. If that's the case, I would be an atheist, and by atheist I mean that I negate the divinity claim. So yeah, but it depends on the claim that is presented to me. I cannot say I am an atheist toward the Norse gods because I don't know shit about them. So you present a claim, you present a divinity claim, and I evaluate at the best of my possibilities and understanding, and and I can either be an atheist, I can either be or a theist. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Well, in reference to the Christian God, I'm going to put the Christian God of the Bible at you.
Yeah, no, I told you. I mean, in reference to the Christian God, I will call myself an atheist. So because I would happily negate the divinity claim.
Right.
So do we all here negate the divinity claim of all Abrahamic gods? I think all of us here.
In reference to the Abrahamic gods, I think we're all definitively atheists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. No. But I say that on purpose because the question is really vague, and I mean. That's why I say.
Well,
I think the idea of
Well,
I think he's trying to go for vagueness to get more of a personal touch rather than slamming it down to get an answer.
He's in the chat.
Oh, I know. But he'll answer if I'm right or he'll answer if I'm wrong. Like,
You brought up the JWs there. Can I just interject with what you might think is a joke, but is actually a fact?
Go on ahead.
So at the house I lived with most of my teenage life with my parents, which is just a little way down the road, we had a JW elder and his family live next door. And when I got to about 13, late 13, early 14, he came and knocked on the door and he asked to speak to me, and he handed me a pamphlet and it said, "Masturbation, why not?" And I looked at the front cover and I went, "Exactly." And I handed it back to him, and that's a true story.
Right, well, we go with question number 2 then. Are we ready? Joe, it better be a good one.
Now, this question isn't to spark a debate about the definition of atheism, as I think people should be allowed to...
Maybe this time we should wait until he defines his bits before cut him off for question 2.
Probably, yeah.
Get on with it.
The underlying meaning is actually what's in their labels in the same way. Question 2. Have you ever believed in a god? Which religion did you ascribe to, if any? If not, when did you first get introduced to the concept of gods?
Let him. Okay.
Okay, before he starts, I have a problem with this question, and also you have stopped it at a very inconvenient point because it's now just a blur on the screen. So could you roll
Back it up
forward,
5
please?
seconds. Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, there's a very serious
And
face
then
from
it's
Joe. He's all, yeah.
Because I have a problem here with his whole premise here. Because because the final part of the question assumes that you have been introduced to the concept of gods. I know of an atheist who has never been introduced to that concept in the way that this question is designed. Because what this question is designed to say is, well, gods are around, you must have been introduced to them, so therefore you must have explored them. Whereas somebody could have come at this
but
from
I
a
think
completely...
I think the situation is like, we're at the bottom of a coal mine and they're discussing coal. We are in a rabbit hole of atheism. It's expected. So it's like, if you go to the bottom of a coal mine and you start talking about farming bunny rabbits, probably nobody's going to listen to you because they're not there. I think this is aimed at the audience,
But the thing is, though, this is for atheists and non-theists. But it is assuming that all atheists have a concept of gods, and non-theists have a concept of gods. Because you could be a religious person who does not ascribe to a religion with gods.
Is what you're describing applicable to you right now?
To me right now, of course I've been introduced to gods.
Right, so answer the bloody question! Answer the bloody question!
No, because I'm trying to get to the root cause of what he's getting at here. And whilst it may affect
Thank you.
me...
Yeah, he just said it.
Yeah,
If you're responding to a
exactly.
video on an atheist channel, we can infer you've heard about gods. So, moving on, Phoebe, since you were dying to talk, answer the question.
Of course, for anyone who knows me, I have ascribed to 2 religions in my past. Both Abrahamic religions. One was Anglicanism and one was Judaism. Judaism is more to me than just a religion, though. It is a cultural identity because it is part of my ethnicity. So that is a bit more complicated for me.
Okay, we'll go backwards, and we'll start with Fabio.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a Catholic for, I don't know how many years. And so that answered the first two questions, I think.
Being a Catholic, very long time. You are a Catholic now, or you used to be a Catholic. How long
No,
was it?
I used to be a Catholic.
Yeah, how long did that last for? Did you wake up when you were 15? Did you get into your 30s? What happened?
Oh, till about, I don't know, 24, 25, maybe.
It's a good half your life.
Tight.
Yeah.
Right, just to give context, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so less than half of my life.
I was trying to give you a wee bump there and tell everybody you look
I know.
younger.
I appreciate that. But I had to come clean, man. I mean, can't hide it.
Okay, so that leaves.
Well, it was that our confession.
No,
already
it's
went.
just, I'm always trying to put, the older I get, the farther away the camera is from me. So now I'm here. Maybe in 10 years I'll be there.
Yeah.
Because you can't see my face, but yeah.
Right, so Phoebe went. That was Fabio. Stephen, that leaves you next.
I was a Catholic until I was 14. I first learned about the concepts of God when, I don't know, childhood age.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I became an atheist when I started to be down the path of becoming an atheist when I was 14, somewhat ironically in religion class. Basically, I heard about all these other gods, and I was kind of like, okay, so the people over here who identify as this, and the people over here who identify as this, they both think that they're right in the same way that I think that I'm right. So how do I know that I'm right? And after that question started me walking down a path of becoming where I am now, which, as I said, is an agnostic atheist.
Right, mine. Have I ever believed in a God? Which religion to ascribe to? I was Presbyterian, born into, as with Phoebe, was born into Presbyterian over here in Northern Ireland, and all the rest of it. Mummy got married and had kids, so kids go to Sunday school. She didn't like what they were teaching. Presbyterians and things like that are more, you're going to fucking hell, instead of sorting yourself out and, fixing life and all of that sort of shit. So she took me out of that, and then a lot of my family on my father's side went to the Salian, or the Salvation Army, and they had a minibus that picked you up on a Sunday. So that was handy for me mum. She didn't have to go to church anymore, and the kids can still go to church. So we went and did that. I got big into it 2 or 3 times on a Sunday, twice during the week. Was going to be a junior soldier, and lost my faith in around 10, 11. Went a little anti-theist, big goth, full white makeup and the lipstick and all that shit. Thank fuck camera phones didn't exist back then. And then just sort of still like still sticking with the music and the metal and the idea of, I'm still a goth at heart, but stop wearing the makeup, still a bit with the religion he talks. And the word atheist didn't really come up in conversation. I was closed in Northern Ireland. It wasn't something we talked about. It was just, you're a non-believer. The atheistic term came about maybe 8 or 9 years ago, whenever I started and came onto the internet and learnt when it came by. So I think that's my ass covered. And that then, Mr. Willis, you're next.
So I think I had times when I was a child when I wanted to believe in a God, specifically an Abrahamic God, because like everyone else, I had the free choice of choose the only one you've ever been introduced to, or choose not to believe in a God. My parents were really keen for me not to be indoctrinated. So I think if you'd asked them when I was little, they would have probably have said that they were Christians. They would both definitely describe themselves as atheists now. And I wasn't christened, which caused a little bit of strife with my grandparents on my paternal side. And they really weren't religious either. And my grandma was quite spiritual in her later years, love and light and all that sort of stuff. But it just shows you that the power of the hold that religion has over culture. It was an expectation that, of course, I would be christened. You don't even really have to believe, but you've got to be christened. And so I'm not, and neither of my brothers are. I was certainly introduced to the concept of God very early in infant school, if not before. I mean, some of my earliest memories revolve around being read your classic Noah's Ark, for example. You know, that loving tale of where God realised he'd fucked up, and in spite of having all the power that could conceivably exist and knowing everything, he somehow didn't realise that it was going to go wrong, and his only method of correction was to kill absolutely everything apart from what was on the
Loving
boat.
story.
Yeah.
Loving
It's
story.
just such a beautiful story to tell little children with these smiling, docile animals walking onto this farcically small floating vessel. But so definitely introduced early on. It just never made any sense to me. I've always wanted to understand how things worked, and for me that just doesn't fit into a framework, a model of how the world can work. So yeah, gold star atheist for me, please.
And that leaves Minnow.
I was raised Presbyterian. My dad's Presbyterian. My mom's not. So I think that kind of like left the door open for me to kind of explore, I guess, a little bit religiously as a kid. And I had, I've talked about it a little bit on my channel as well as this channel, I think, that I had like kind of a religious experience, if you will, and became a youth pastor at that point in my life. And later on, after I moved away for school, I actually ended up getting my ministerial license and had kind of a small congregation that all just met in my house. And I got to a point where I tried to with my congregation to like preach what I felt like were universal truths. And I felt like I got to a point where it was like, I don't necessarily know that I believe that any of this means anything, though, you know. And it was like, I can tie this together to this, to this, to this, but like, what is it? It doesn't. And I felt like I was lying. And I happened to move kind of around that same time, and I just kind of like stopped kind of basically cut off contact with my congregation, and besides just a few members, and went to go work at UPS, and had kind of like an opposite of religious experience, if you will. Kind of it's very much how people describe like having a religious experience when they like go off to work camp or whatever, but it was the opposite of that, where I just realized that like it's okay that it doesn't mean anything, I guess.
You looked down and saw one set of footprints, and you realised, they were your own.
And it's okay. It's okay. Like, I got this, you know. And that was, yeah. But you're very much right, Mr. Willis. Yeah. So.
Samos, I sent you the link on Discord. I think it's the right one. I'm not going to ruin my production live, but it should be the right one. And yeah, we'll get Samos, and Samos can give us a couple of things. You only missed 2 questions, so we'll tackle him very quickly for the first 2 questions whenever he gets here. And yeah, I thought it's a very cool pose we have there from Answers and Reason, isn't it? Okay, just me. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Stephen.
It took me a second, but like his eyes are staring into my soul.
You've only got me for another hour, by the way.
That's grand. We've only got 3 more questions. So if we're getting through 2 questions in a half an hour, that gives us 4 more questions. We should be done. Samos, hurry up. We're waiting on you. We're now on a time limit. Savage is all like this at us today. Come on, Samos.
Is he?
Come on.
Is he coming in? Okay.
Come on.
He's a very good looking and intelligent man, isn't he? You can go off a fella.
I put him on a time limit earlier today to come talk to you, MathPig, so.
Hold on, I'm just looking at the chat. Bearded heretics looking to time out Wesley. Wesley has typed in caps. If he does it twice more, time them out. I do not like typing in caps regardless of what they're typing. Involve yourself in a conversation. Do not just fucking type shit and not respond. If they are typing and not responding to a conversation, give them 3, time them out.
Should I be able to see the chat here then? Have I?
No. You need to open it up on another page, man. Sorry. It should usually, if anyone else is doing StreamYards, but I'm being fancy. So, because I be fancy, use all.
Sure, yeah.
Use all lacquer.
So I've got our So is it private chat is one and comments is another?
Private chat's the only thing that you'll be able to talk to with other people in the private chat. The actual comments won't appear. So we've got Simos.
On YouTube.
Phoebe, because you've such
Hello.
a beautiful voice, would you like to ask the first 2 questions?
Well,
I'm a strong atheist.
For
Fuck
fuck's
gods.
sake.
They never existed. There are none. Anything which you can call a god is not worth believing in. If it is worth believing in, it's not worth calling a god.
Well
Next.
said.
What do you label
There you go.
yourself?
Question one.
What label do you use to describe
You just
yourself?
said
Atheist. I'm a-
Lester,
That's
man in
that's
charge.
what you just
you
said.
just gave me you just
Just
gave
said
me the
just-
floor and you asked the question.
I was panicking because I hit the
Where's
wrong
the
button.
punch?
When
I'm
we
look-
played Quiplash, he did it to me back to back to back to back. That's why
It
for
just-
Canon Wars, I was like, I will ask all of the questions you will not.
So for those of
Any
you that want to hear me ask the questions, I'm going to interject here. So what label do you use to describe yourself and what does that mean to you? You've already answered that one.
Pretty boy, yeah.
I mean, naturally.
And the next question?
Have you ever believed
Have
in
you
a
ever
God?
believed in a god? Which religion did you ascribe to, if any? And if not, that garbage.
No, and I think I was 7 when I first went, oh, what the fuck? People are singing about this thing called God. What the fuck? So I asked the teacher what they meant, and she went, oh, well, God's this, and she described the Abrahamic God to me, and by the time I got home from school, I was an atheist. Straight to my mum and went, oh, I've worked out God doesn't exist. She was look of disappointment on her face was palpable.
If I can
And she
say,
went,
Oh,
why?
your parents were theists?
No, just my mother.
Oh.
You would have got a bag of pick and mix off me if it's any consolation.
Great.
Brianna,
Anyway, there you go.
Brina,
That's catching up.
Brina Reese. It's not an open streams per se, as in I'm just going to put the link in and people can join. But Simos is part of the family, and you know he's.
Brina does other atheist content and stuff. I'm familiar
Well,
with
if you
her.
would like in, you
I'm-
know, Brina,
I'm
reach
a
out.
Patreon member of hers.
Right. Well, then Savage will have a contact with you if you would like in. Savage will send you a link. Then I'm sure you have contact info. Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Boom.
I'll send it to you on Patreon.
There you go. So
Right. So there we go. Am I up to speed?
you're up to
I don't
speed.
want to hold up the stream and just go back over shit again.
Okay, no, you're up to speed. We paused it originally at the blur, and I was made go back, so we're exactly ready to go into the third question.
Lovely. Let's go.
Question 3. Were you brought up in a religious area or with a religious family? How did those people around you react to you coming out as an atheist? If you grew up in a non-religious area and with a non-religious family, how were your first interactions with heavily religious people?
Okay, can I just point out something? Right, hold on.
Done it again!
Right, we'll go back a wee bit. Right, we'll get the dopey, sleepy look now this time. Oh, right, this isn't 10 questions. This is more than 10 questions. That's all I'm saying. Okay, more than 10 questions.
Okay.
So, Savage, we'll start with you this time. We'll go and we'll do it backwards. So this time we'll go first with you.
So I think my family kind of realized that it was happening when they like saw me like double down. Because kind of half of my family was already atheist, and it's kind of a cycle that happens among a lot of atheists. I'm sure you guys know that it's like you start out religious and like you start to like see holes that are like getting poked in it, and then it's like, no, like throw on extra layers, I'm gonna double down, and then pretty soon you realize that like there's no patching the holes. And so I think my family kind of saw me going through that, and there was some of my family that like just denied it was happening. And that side of the family, after I did kind of fully come out as an atheist, I don't think I ever like said to my family like, look, I'm an atheist, until there was a wedding, and that member of the family asked me to deliver a gospel reading at the wedding, and I said yes. Like when they were like, will you do a reading at the wedding? Assuming that it was like something from Proverbs or something that was just like a good story, and it wasn't. And it was like this whole like thing about, I forget what what reading it was, but I was like, seriously, you want me to read this? Like, this is disrespectful to me to even say this. And there was kind of a little bit of an upset about it, and I ended up doing the reading anyway because I didn't want to mess up their freaking wedding, but I wasn't happy about it. And that was kind of when I came out. That was the only like bad coming out. But besides that, I have a friend, like one of my good friends is a pastor. It's still like working pastor, preaching pastor. And for the most part, like, I know it's kind of like a touchy subject, but it's in some ways, where I live, there has been this sort of response to the LGBTQ community. If you're not familiar, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community, and there's this idea within Christianity where it's like love the sinner and hate the sin, right? Because like being gay is a sin. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I can like love the Christian and hate the Christianity, and I don't know how, but I'm able to do that. And I'm not saying that everybody is able to do that, but I am. So
right.
That's pass.
Willis.
So not a religious family, accepting what I said earlier on. Not a particularly religious area. Obviously, most of the UK. Hypothetically, I'm looking forward to the census results coming out in a few months. But most of the UK would say that they're Christian, although most of them would say they're Christian rather than acting Christian or going to church. Certainly, the numbers going to church go down. There wasn't really a big coming out as an atheist because I'm a gobshite, and it's always been quite obvious that I don't believe in any God. In terms of interactions with heavily religious people, so it started in infant school, junior school with me sort of refusing to bow my head for a prayer, and it went from there were a few frowns and I was the only person doing it to it was just accepted I wasn't going to close my eyes or bow my head, and eventually quite a lot of other people did the same. That carried on until as far as I think I was in year 9, I guess you call that 9th grade in the US, I'm not sure, but sort of
14, 15?
in another, yeah. So in another 2 years, we're doing our first sort of important set of exams, and so over here there was a group called Question Mark. They're sort of so it's Alpha Church, and so they're like yeah. So I think they're also called King's Church, but it's like British evangelicals, and they disguise it quite well. And they're the ones they send out. They're young and they're cool, and like maybe they smoke pot one time, woo type of thing. And me and a couple of other people that sat together at school said, "Why are you coming in? And why are you trying to change our minds?" And in front of like the whole school, like 1,200 people, this happy clappy guy said, "We're not trying to change your minds. We're just trying to influence your minds." And me and my friends were like, yeah. So that was it. And we didn't allow ourselves to be influenced. I tried to start an atheist club at school to counteract what they were doing with the, I'll be honest, cringeworthy slogan of AC, it's electric. What can I tell you? I was 14. It was 1994. But so that was kind of how that one went for me.
Samos, you're next in line.
Okay. I wasn't brought up in a religious family. My father was an atheist, and he made sure that religion wasn't a thing in the house. How do people react to coming out? Yeah, people, because I was quite young, a lot of parents banned kids from coming to my parties, and teachers generally gave me bad grades and shit like that because I was outspoken about it. This is slightly older than Dr. Willis there, or Mr. Willis there. So this is the 70s. But that was okay. I kind of thrived on the conflicts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to really enjoy shocking kids at school with, telling them what, how stupid their beliefs about religion were. So that was always good fun because I get a lot of stick back for it. And first interactions, well, no, they were fun. I remember getting off with the local priest daughter, and then getting in trouble when I was about 12 or 13. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. So I've always had very positive feedback from.
When you say getting her in trouble, like I don't want to go too far, but she didn't need an exorcism after that, did she?
I don't know. We weren't allowed to see each other. That's all I know. But I moved on. I moved on to
Brina?
the local.
Is
the
it
local
Brina
girls
or
that were in heavy
Brianna?
metal, and that was enough. Anyway, there we go. Thanks.
It's Brina. Like, it's short for Sabrina. That's my full name.
Brina, thank you
Well,
very
you're
much for
teenage
joining.
bitch.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
We'll not do the whole recap or we'll be bloody here all night. But would you like
Right,
to
that's
answer
fine.
this question? Because the way you've popped in, you're next after Simos.
Hold on. What was the question?
Can you see it on screen?
Oh, is it if? Hold on. Were you brought up in a religious area? Okay. Yeah, I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and it's like not normalized in any sense of the word to not believe a God exists. You just believed God existed, like, and you were a Christian. So the idea of going against that is extremely alarming to like family members and neighbors and classmates. I remember we actually had like somebody who was out as an atheist in my high school. One person, well, it wasn't one person, it was one family, like them and their siblings, and they were extremely ostracized because of it, if that gives you any indication of like where I grew up. So yeah, I'm an atheist now, so completely out of that, but that's kind of the environment that I grew up in.
Well, that puts me next. And brought up in a religious area or family, as I said earlier, with the Salvation Army and all. It would have been religious, but like what Willis says, being in the UK here, you know, mostly a UK-based panel here, or well, European anyway. So it's not as strong over here, you know. So even though my family was religious, when I was leaving religion, my mum was just raising me, and my mum was very supportive of it. You know, she was always pushing me in the ask questions, skeptic sort of, you know, mindset regardless. So I don't think it was a surprise to her. I would refer to her as a spiritual Christian. As I say, she doesn't like going to church, but she does believe in Christ and heaven and that sort of thing. So, you know, whatever way you want to say it. But yeah, she was always very supportive of me. Christian friends would come in and ask questions, I remember, and she laughed and got up and walked out because it was like, he knows the Bible better than you. You have fun. She just went off and did the dinner or whatever. So, you know, yeah, we were lucky here. You know, I have been lucky enough in that respect. Interactions with heavily religious people. Yeah, the internet. Thanks, fucking brilliant for all of you motherfuckers on the internet. Crazy Americans and young Earth creationists. What the fuck, like?
Those are
just-
the
just-
people
just-
who where
just-
like Brina and I live though, like for real though, like that's like we live with those people like down the
My
street from
first
us.
interaction, the worst one was probably with a Calvinist, and it may have been my first time. Well, there's a few Calvinists I've been talking to, but I wouldn't have went into a debate sort of, you know, me on him sort of, you know, context, and doing one for, I can't remember what the channel was, and they invited me on to talk to a Christian. That's all the information I got, was he's a Christian. And it turned out he was a Calvinist, and he went down the whole
You kinda
pedal
did
route
that
and
to
the
me.
free will route and all this here, and yeah, that
Right.
was...
It's also-
Hang on a second. One slight correction though to what MathPig said there. I'm not in the EU. I'm not European. Obviously, I live.
I
in
said
the UK.
UK or European. I said UK or European.
Oh, please
Fabio's
don't
in the
make me
room.
cry.
Fabio's in the room.
Touchy
I've got to say,
subject.
obviously.
What was Brina saying?
I was just gonna say that in the environment that I grew up in, it was normalized in the school to push back against evolution, like being a young Earth creationist. In fact, when I was in 8th grade, I specifically remember doing live like reports, like with the PowerPoint that we had to do on evolution, and I was one of the many students in that class that pushed back against the idea of evolution because that's what was normalized and that's what was allowed in our school system.
Jesus
We
Christ.
were taught in my biology class in high school. We were taught evolution, like right alongside with creationism. It was like, oh, if we're going to talk about evolution, we're going to
And
spend
probably
just
not
as much
even
time.
allowed, like looking back on it, because I went to a public school. Like that shouldn't have even been.
Me too, though.
Like,
It was in what's the Texas, not Texas Instruments. It's the other one that has the science and whatever textbooks. It's in the
Yeah.
standard textbook. It's in the
Right.
standard textbook.
And I'm not even
1/3
in the South. I'm in Ohio, so
1/3 time
Pretty
for
far.
intelligent design, 1/3 time for flying spaghetti monsterism, and 1/3 time for logical conjecture based on an overwhelming preponderance of physical evidence. And when I read that, and I think that was Kansas, wasn't it? That was the open letter to the Kansas school board circa 1997, 1998, pushing back against
Kansas
your
City,
Earth
well, the
creation.
Kansas
So
City did put evolution on trial.
So it's so it was around that time, but it was when the school board had a lot of YECs elected to the board, and they were teaching this, so they weren't allowed to teach creationism, so they disguised it as intelligent design, right? And then so that was why the guy invented Pastafarianism, and he said that, and the whole letter was stunning. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, I strongly recommend that you Google Pastafarianism open letter to the Kansas school board. Go to the toilet before you read it, because you are going to piss yourself laughing. I literally can't read the end of the letter without laughing, but I'm going to try my best to get the sentence out now from memory. If I crack up laughing, I'm sorry. I do find it really funny. So in summary, I think we all look forward to when these three theories are given equal time in our classrooms. 1/3 time for intelligent design, 1/3 time for flying spaghetti monsterism, and 1/3 time for logical conjecture based on an overwhelming preponderance of physical evidence. And it's taken me 20 years to be able to say that without bursting out laughing, because it's just flawless, right? It's like, just take your argument and just fuck clean off. Yeah, like, I can make up bullshit and claim it as science as well, right? Here's some graphs that show that I'm right and you're wrong. It really pisses me off, and I'm going to stop ranting. But I've got.
I was just going to say, who's up next, Stephen? You up next?
Can I just ask you a question though? And like, I know I'm dragging it out. I will be as quick as I can. But like, obviously, I never had that God doesn't exist epiphany, because I didn't believe. When you realised, did it feel like finding out that Father Christmas wasn't real, or like there was no tooth fairy? Like, how did it feel? Did you feel empty or relieved? Or,
well, we don't know. It could be one of the next questions that he asks.
Oh, could it be?
I have a very good answer for that.
Well, we will see. All of us have not watched this, so we will see. We will wait. But Phoebe, you're next then. Stephen next. Phoebe next. One of you two.
Don't forget that question, because I will forget to answer it if you don't ask it again.
I've lost track because there's been so many people talking out of turn.
Whoever
I want to answer
actually.
it too, so I'll remember.
No, I did say mine. Said I was supported and stuff. So that's
So it's Steven.
Stephen.
Yeah. I grew up in a moderately religious household, religious area. Like, there's, I think, like 6, maybe 7 churches in my kind of like smaller county, where like 10,000 people maybe. Yeah, I mean, like, they were there, but like I never went to church as like a child, apart from like on like your occasions. How did people around me like react? With like, I do kind of like to commonly say that like I'm fortunately one of the very few who have like the best possible reaction to like saying that you're an atheist, which is nobody cared.
Yep.
Nobody gave a fuck. I say unfortunately, obviously, because like there's so many stories of so many people who have been like ostracized from their families, or kicked out of their family homes, or lost contact with friends or family members because they don't believe in the same invisible sky daddy as they do. Look, I'm making light of it, but it is obviously it is obviously like a super serious issue and stuff like that. But no, I literally had like the best possible reaction to telling people that I was an atheist. Just nobody cared.
Yeah. That'll put Phoebe next. Dying to talk, Phoebe.
So, was I brought up in a religious area or family? Well, my mother, yes. My father, no. My father couldn't give two flying spaghetti monsters about religion of any kind. Whereas my mother is an Anglican, which is why I was an Anglican. Went to an Anglican school all the way through. So I started off at just a regular school. Then I went to a school with a church attached to it. And then I went to a school with a chapel attached to it. So, it built itself up. And how did they react to me coming out as atheist? Well, my mother reacted, she went, well, you're finding who you are when I came out as Jewish, because that was the first thing that happened. And then a whole confluence of things that you can go and check out on Ed's channel.
Oh, Ed does a great video with Phoebe. You really should see Ed's video with Phoebe. It's brilliant.
Where I talk about certain things that you should go and watch in that video. But yes, that's an ongoing joke between MathPig and I.
I'm going to add that to the bot. Now, the bot's not on, but I'm going to add that to the bot. We're just going to put in, check out Ed's channel or some fucking, you fucking bitch. Right, go on.
But yes, and how did they react to me coming out as an atheist? Well, my mother said, well, at least you're not in, ethno-nationalism anymore. So I'll take that as, the price you pay.
Fabio, the best for last.
So it's going to be yes to the first question. And about the second question, nobody gave a shit. And mostly because around here, people do not give a shit. And there is also the fact that I'm not, and I wasn't an annoying cunt about it. Just like like vegetarians or like vegetarians or vegan do. If somebody invites me to a wedding, I go to the wedding. If I have to go to a funeral, I go to a funeral, and that's it. Because I don't care really. The fact that I go to those ceremonies is because people invite me. I like the people, and I go there. I just don't put a big fuss about it. I think it's counterproductive. It's annoying to everybody, including you. And really, I don't want to be like the guy that everybody knows is a fucking vegan, because that's the first thing it tells you, that he's a vegan. So that's it. There is another thing I want to say about, because people talked about young earth creationism and stuff like that. I just want to point out that I live in a country where we have the fucking Vatican around here, right? So...
Well, you live in
your country. That's another country. That's another country.
No. I'm getting there. Some years ago, the bloody Pope, and the Nazi one, the one which is not here anymore.
Joseph Ratzinger.
He was invited to speak in a university. The professors and the students, they made such a fuss about it that he was uninvited. So to me... So to me, hearing that in 2021, young earth creationism and not evolution is actually taught in schools, it's fucking amazing. It blows my fucking mind. It makes me laugh like there is no tomorrow. I listen to that. I listen to Ricky Gervais. It's the same thing. I'm having a huge laugh.
But see, here's the thing about it that's so kind of messed up to me. Is you think it's funny, but
it's super funny.
And I don't disagree with you.
Whenever you're finished, Savage, just let me know so I can talk on my own channel. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. So, the thing about it is, here, in American schools, that actually takes up, a good amount of our freaking time. Like I was saying about when, in my biology class, that amount of, learning that crap that's useless fucking bullshit.
No, Savage, I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I don't want to sound, like a vegan, right? But the main problem is that in the US, you are lazy, and you're wrong in that approach. Totally wrong. again.
You know I'm a self-hating American, right?
No,
Like-
but listen, do you know what it takes to tell the Pope not to come to speak in a university after he has been invited?
yeah, no.
Do
Like,
you have
the
any
audacity.
fucking idea?
Yeah.
So do you think that it's easier to tell the Pope, oh no, listen, I mean, you're not welcome here? Or is it harder to actually elect some people in the school boards which have half a brain and say, you know, guys, fuck off? What
But the
among those two
lobby's
things,
so strong.
which one do you think it's harder to do?
Finding people with half a brain in America is gonna be hard.
No, it's hard. Listen again.
Mainly got
and
whole brains.
I'm really sorry if I sound harsh. It's hard if you're lazy.
I mean,
If you
you know
just
what you
keep
Italians
the
are like
thing-
for changing your mind when it comes to Nazis.
Right? Yeah. It is true.
It's
No, it is.
I mean, yeah.
The lobby's just so strong though in America, right? Like all the money, like atheism's got no money.
There's only
Right.
two Americans on the
Fundamentalist
panel.
religion's got
They should
loads of
dis-
money.
The two Americans on the panel should discuss the American education system. I feel so. And after that, I'm not even going to mention what I was going to say because it's not even relevant to the conversation anymore. And then we're going to go on to the next question. We're going to go Sleepy Joe hits play.
My point is that it's just really sad for like American kids that like that time could be used for better things. That was my point.
Right. And I don't think it's that easy to actually find somebody who has, I guess I'll use the quote, half a brain on the school board when you're limited to a very specific area and there's only a certain amount of people that are there that are in that profession. And many of those people
That
are
are
a
in
product of being brainwashed in the same way that those children are going to become a product of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my-
okay. So
my aunt worked,
This to me seems the same approach that you have towards guns in the U.S. It is the unsolvable problem that everybody in the world has already solved. Yeah, but it's impossible to solve. Okay, who's got that problem?
I
We
never
have
said
got
it's
a
not. It's not.
We're not
impossible.
saying
I
that
never
we-
said
it's
it's impossible to
impossible.
solve. I don't think that at all. I don't think
But,
it's
like,
impossible.
Like for instance, my aunt spent a year and a half working on a committee to try and find a new person to like run the school board, and the person that they found in the end.
Thanks for coming,
agreed
Danish
to
debater.
do it for 2 years. And that was it.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
difficult when
Because
you
nobody wants the job.
Yeah, and it's difficult when, as a non-religious person, you are a marginalized group here. Like, it's not that easy when you are constantly getting pushed down. Like, I can't even, when I was working at a school, I took atheist stickers off of my car because I was worried about how that would present. I was worried if I could lose my job or get, like, negative feedback from my kids' parents and stuff. So like it's not that easy to just rise above when you are trying to tackle a system that has religion so ingrained in its policies and in government.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, where you live, like no one cares. But like here, like for some fucking reason, they fucking care, and it's really
Like my aunt, that's
It's
right. We'll
sad.
bring it back a wee bit. This is slightly irrelevant now, but my auntie I would have considered a religious person. You know, she wouldn't have went to church all the time and all that there, but she was involved with the Salvation Army. She would have helped out and gone the odd time. You know, more so than just Christmas and funerals. You know, but towards the end, when she got very, very sick and ended, she'd seen the Presbyterian minister give an awful service for my grandfather and talk about him for 10 minutes and talk to us about going to hell for 45. You know, they had a conversation with him afterwards, and then when her mother died, which would be my nanny, they spent maybe 20 minutes, half an hour on my nanny, and the rest of the hour, you're going to fucking hell. So she had it in what in America I think you should refer to as a funeral home. She had no religious ceremony at all. It was in the funeral home, go and get cremated. And she's a religious person. So that's how, you know, it's more cultural over here. It really is a lot more cultural over here than it would be. We're adamant till it, we're attending till it, you know, we actually attain to all these things and dogma and stuff. It's like, yeah, we go every now and again, something happens, we do, and we bounce back and forth. But even at the very end, when she was dying, she was like, no, I do not want to go to my local church and have that minister fucking talk about bloody going to hell. I wouldn't put you through that. We're going to just do it in the funeral home. We'll have a nice wee talk. There was a religious wee bit, you know, maybe lasted 15 minutes. And then we all jumped in the car and drove her to the crematorium and burnt her. And that was just, you know. So, on that, we'll move on to the next question. I think everybody's had a go, yeah?
More than a go.
Heavily religious people. Question 4. What arguments or other evidence do you find most convincing against the existence of gods or various religions?
And there's a smart face. I love how we should snapshot these for every
But, like,
stage.
let
And
him-
if I re-edit the video, this is what it's going to be. It's just going to be his face fading in and fading out again.
Is he gonna explain though? Because the one he explained after.
Pardon?
The one he explained it after he said it. Is there going to be more explaining to this, or is this the end of it?
No, well, I'm looking at the black lines and they gradually... We've a couple up here. Look, this one's obviously going to get explained. Oh, that's thank you in closing. That's question 10. These are quite large. You know, this one here is
Oh,
obviously
okay.
just a
So
question.
it's right at the end. Okay.
Well, no, I'm just saying the explanations.
Right at the end of the bar is what I meant.
Okay, what arguments or other evidence do you find most convincing against the evidence of gods or various religions? Anybody?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we starting at the bottom this time?
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
start with Fabio. Yeah, we'll start with Fabio.
Okay, so that's a really interesting question, and I will not give you an answer. And the reason I'm not going to give you an answer is that
We're going to assume it's aimed against
I
the
think
Christian
that-
God. We're going to assume.
no. I mean, I'll give you my rationale while not giving you an answer, and why I think it's kind of a silly question. The reason is that my so what I think is that in order for you to change a belief, you don't necessarily need a good argument. You need a convincing argument.
Yeah.
This is
Now,
compelling, but
this
yeah.
this puts and a convincing argument might well as be a very bad argument, objectively. So this is going to be basically kind of a personal question, and it's not that I don't want to reply to a personal question, but I think that talking about the single reasons why somebody has changed his mind on a topic, it's not really that interesting or actually worth, especially speaking, in an open panel like that. It might be a good conversation to have, one-on-one with people, but not here, because I am not thinking, and I do not want to think that my arguments are actually good arguments. They might be, but they might not be for other people. And sure as hell, they might not be convincing, which is the crux of the problem.
Well, you
It's
see, that's
the
also
center
falls
of the
into it.
problem.
You know, a car salesman has no good arguments, but he has a lot of convincing arguments, if we can use that as a stereotype. You know, the car.
Right. So what I'm basically saying, and I'll cut it short, is that kind of question
Paul's shouting
leads
at you, just to say, Paul Bamper is shouting at you. He's like, what do you find convincing?
Right. Yeah, but you see, the problem is that, I can tell you what I find convincing, right? And that is not going to be a critique to the argument. It's going to be a critique to the person. Because automatically you say, oh, you're that dumb that you find that convincing. You must be, but that's, so, and I don't think that is something which, helps to progress the conversation, because it gets personal really easy,
Okay. Phoebe?
So, well, here's the thing. It's not that I find these arguments convincing against gods or various religions. It's that I have yet to be convinced by any of these in my current state or where I am in my life. I have yet to be convinced by any of them when I drill into them skeptically, and I drill into them asking for evidence, and I drill into them asking for them to provide me with some form of proof. That actually convinces me. So I'm not looking for a negative here. I'm wanting a positive to be given to me. and I have yet to be given one of those since I left the religions that I have. So no convincing argument has been made to me as to why I should re-enter any form of religion. Because it's not that I'm looking for negatives here. I'm not looking to tear down religion. I'm not looking to go, this is a load of horse manure and codswalloping McTosh-tosh. But there you go. I'm not looking for that. If you're going to try to convince me to believe what you believe, I'm not here to make you feel like a pile of dog manure. Dog manure? What's dog manure? Anyway, I'm rambling at the moment.
Yep.
But I'm not here to make you feel like a shitbag. I'm here for you to convince me why you should have me follow the same belief system you have. I'm not there to tear you down. You have to convince me.
I feel that statement
and
is you're
build me
shifting
up.
the burden of proof. I think that's what you're doing, is putting the burden of proof on the theist. So rather than asking...
Of course the burden of proof's on the theist. The burden of proof's not on me to tear them down. I'm not here to be a little shit and make them feel like shit. They want me to believe what they want. If they want me to believe the same thing as them, they've got to... The burden's on them to convince me. I'm not going in this going, come along and provide me with all this evidence that this is a load of shit. You want me to follow your belief, so convince me why.
It's impossible to prove a negative, so the burden of proof falls on the person making a positive claim.
I fucking hate that fucking phrase. That's just my opinion.
But it is true.
It's true, though.
To a certain extent.
It is true.
To a certain
Prove me wrong, MathPig.
To a certain extent. Here, dial up Steve McRae. He'll tell you how it's true. Go on. Stephen, go on.
If he shows up, you know what? Actually, I would be nice and polite to him.
I was just making a joke to break.
It's not my channel.
I was trying to just tangent like fuck so people would be quiet and I could go, Stephen.
It's great. It's fine. I do just want to say, first off, I want to get the audio clipped of Phoebe saying codswalloping tish tosh and make it my message alert.
Codswalloping tosh tosh.
Tosh tosh, yes, there we go. I want to make that my fucking, like, every time I get a text message, just that to pop up. What arguments or evidence do I find most convincing against the existence of God? I mean, just the fact that, like, it's been 2,000 fucking years plus, depending on the type of religion that you're talking about, and that there have been people who have been trying to, prove this, who have been trying to demonstrate the efficacy of the claims, and they haven't fucking done it yet. There's like, you could say that there's some evidence for the existence of God, but is it good evidence, or is it like useful evidence, or like no? So yeah, like I kind of just have to basically kind of unfortunately echo what Phoebe said, that burden of proof is on them.
Where's that kick
it's not
button?
you know what
Where's
I mean,
that
like the
fucking
burden of
kick
proof
button?
is
I'm
on
kicking the both
you,
of yous.
and like you haven't met the burden of proof yet, so
right.
She gave me a damn heart attack.
That puts me now. Oh, you should see Phoebe's screen. This is nothing.
I can see it.
This is nothing. You haven't seen the unlisted private and private video where Phoebe lost her fucking shit. Screaming is nothing. This is nothing. Right. Let me see if I can articulate this correctly, right? As we discussed in the previous question, I had the religious background and then left the Salvation Army, went sort of anti-theist, but in my opinion, to be an anti-theist, you sort of have to believe that there's a theist there, so you're still believing in God. Then I went through the deist stage, where it's, could be anything, pantheism and all that. Then there's a bit of energy shit, and I landed on sort of the Akashic energy, Akashic field for about 10 years, because I stopped interacting with people to push the limits, and life and shit like that didn't go out as much. We get old. We don't always go to the pub and get drunk and talk God at 3 a.m. So that sort of just landed me where I was. So I wouldn't say, what arguments or other evidence have you found most convincing against the evidence of God's? I've had lots of arguments put forth to me, and more so in not argument's sake, conversations, talking to people. I've had more people tell me their personal testimonies and their personal stories and personal experiences that they've went through than I have a person stand in front of me and go, here's an argument for the existence of God in a philosophical term with this, that, and the other. Yeah, and, you know, that as wonderful and as deep and as we can actually pick out what words is and what defines this and this, that, and the other, and be really fucking pedantic. God isn't words on a page. God's isn't a philosophical term. God's in reference to the person is a very personal, faith-based sort of experience thing that they've went through. So there's no argument that I would say that, you know, someone could put forth to me. I would have to have a feeling, you know, something that they've portrayed to me. And I know that anybody can experience a personal testimony. I've went through a few of them, hence the original Mathmagic Pagan, you know, things I can't describe quite yet. So it's hard for me to say I can, you know, people make reference, that personal testimony matches this personal testimony. Even though they're not the same, they're both personal testimonies, they're both on the same level. This made you feel this. I agree that it made me also feel this. We're the same, you know. So we can see that, and I connect to people on that level. Okay? This is why I call myself an agnostic. I haven't seen any evidence for the non-existence of God except the logical form of defeating, you know, using logic to defeat things. I believe in logic. I believe in following that line through, asking the questions in a logical, critical mind thinking and all that bullshit. So I'll follow the logical line. So with the Christian God and the Abrahamic gods, they make no sense. I can get rid of them. There's not an argument there. It's literally, this is what it is, and logic dictates you don't exist. So there's not an argument there. But when it comes to other gods and what other people think, and how everybody is fucking different, even if you're all in the same church, every single person in that fucking room experiences God different. I don't know. Now I've got to the point I'm rambling, but this is why I'm an agnostic. I haven't heard evidence to say there is no God, as much as I have heard evidence to say there is God. Evidence is a very vague term, but evidence when people are talking or is an experience that they've went through that they're trying to convey to you.
I just want to say, just before we kind of move on, it's getting pretty fucking late here, and I have to be up early in the morning for work. So
are we going to have to make a 5-minute video, a two-parter? 10 minutes. Right.
I
one more question after this, Stephen.
I mean, you just like rambled on for 5 minutes. Like
I was just going to say, I had said in the side chat this is going to be my last question. So again, I'm very, very sorry, but I'm really starting to get tired now. So
and we've got Phoebe for 12 minutes, and I know that we need to leave. Savage has to bounce as well. So, he just went. He's just gone.
Unfortunately, I'm jumping off too because I've got some stuff to do tomorrow morning. So thank you for the invite and take care, guys.
No bother. Thank you. So can we get Brianna, Simos, Wyatt, Mr. Willis, and Savage to not fucking leave until we get their answers, and we'll do a two-parter then.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't ask the weak atheists any questions. That's all I'm saying.
So, yeah, we'll be back Thursday at 10:30. I'm going to fucking grab all these bastards and get them back again. So, next up is Brina.
Brina.
I keep trying to say Brianna.
Okay. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. So I'm actually going to answer this question in the form of what convinced me when I was still no longer a Christian, but I was still very much tied to spiritual beliefs and beliefs in the supernatural. And the first or at least one of the first stepping stones for me to just completely, and actually it was one of the aha moments for me where I was like kind of scared because I realized that everything that I believed was bullshit, was when I started diving into understanding what souls are and where the concept of a soul comes from, and starting to just question humanity as a whole, and does our conscious, can it be separate from what's up here? And when I realized that I didn't have a good reason to believe that, everything else just kind of fell apart, because souls, the concept of a soul, the concept of going on and living in the afterlife, it's so intertwined with many religions. And once that fell apart for me, that was kind of when everything else fell apart after. So
thank you. Apologies for the rushing, but towards the end. But when everybody starts to fucking leave, you motherfuckers, I hate the way I can't see the side chat. I need a new screen. I need a fucking new screen. Simos, you're up next.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the argument which I was at when I was 7 on the way back from school was lack of necessity. Necessity is a property which all gods must have, and it's an incoherent property when it comes to believing, having a rational belief in something. It's incoherent to say that something that you have no evidence for is necessary. So there's no argument that could be made for that kind of god. And all other gods that don't have that property are just not worth calling gods. So therefore, no gods exist. And the other side of it, of course, one of the arguments which I find particularly interesting is, well, there's two arguments actually, which is the divine hiddenness argument, which I think is very good against most theistic versions of God, and also Tang, which is the transcendental argument against God, is just something that I use to fuck up theists when I'm in the mood to troll. Thank you.
Just finishing off what typing in.
Willis is next, I think.
Oh, Angry Pumpkin. Angry Pumpkin's just turned up. Angry Pumpkin's from not too far up the road, actually. It's been a while, Angry. Nice to see you again.
So I'm not sure if you can call it trolling if you really believe in it.
Willis, you're next.
Yes,
now,
sir.
hey,
Willis,
Willis, before we go forward. Nice. Concinct. Is it concinct answer? Phoebe, correct me.
Yeah. Succinct.
Or succinct.
Concise, yep.
Yes,
but concinct.
I knew I was wrong.
Genius.
I was asking.
Genius.
Making new
Ironically,
ones.
we're taking loads of time discussing this, so I'd love to ramble on this one, but I'm not going to. I think there's lots of evidence for the fact that humanity tends to make up gods. I think that people believing in other gods than other people believe in discorroborates the fact that there are gods. So when we go back to Semitic people, moving from paganism to monotheism, I think sort of from that moment onwards, all extant religions from there are based on astrotheology and syncretism. So a little bit from the existing religion and a little bit of what's going on in the sky and how do we tell these stories of the grandeur and of how long the moon cycle takes and so on and so forth. And it all just gets personified or deified from there. So I think that humanity has a dislike of the fact that when we die, we turn to worm food, and you can tell that even just by talking to children. So I've seen no evidence for gods and lots of evidence against it. If we're talking Abrahamic faiths or YECs, there's so much evidence against design. We're really badly made. My eyes are absolutely crap. I can barely see you guys 5 inches in front of me on the screen without my glasses
Don't
on.
even talk about my bad back.
No, and so on and so on and so on. So for me, there's a lot of evidence against a god, very little evidence for a god, and I would love to talk for 2 hours, but I'm not going to, so I'll leave that.
Also not allowed. Salvage.
Okay, so I'm going to try and make this as concise and succinct as possible. But I think kind of going off of that same idea of and I think you were asking earlier about when we realized that there wasn't, I don't know if it was you or somebody else was talking about when they realized.
Yeah, what did it feel like when you realized?
And was it that feeling of realizing that Father Christmas or Santa Claus wasn't real? And I think kind of going back to that idea of that we do almost kind of create deities in that this is the concept of something. So for instance, we can say something is in the spirit of Father Christmas or in the spirit of Santa Claus, even though Santa Claus isn't real, right? But we still know what that means. It's that giving jolly spirit.
What? Santa Claus isn't real?
Oh, sorry. Did I burst somebody's bubble? I'm sorry.
Spoiler alert.
We're gonna have to make this not for kids. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I think for me that was a difficult concept to as a kid, the difference between knowing something and believing something was being raised Christian, I didn't understand that there was a difference, right? So I remember the moment where my brain knew that Santa Claus wasn't real, and it had I won't even get into the breakdown as to why my logical toddler brain freaking knew, But
I caught my mom
I
and my dad
also,
at the
in
front
my
door.
mind, knew that like people who didn't believe in Santa Claus didn't get presents from Santa Claus. So I saw this like, I think we were saying that there was a reason, there was a necessity in believing in Santa Claus at that point, right? And so I kind of continued, and I think I feel like I had the same kind of relationship with like God for a long time until I think when I came to the realization that like praying, the concept of praying, it really negates the ability for there to be a God that's worthy of praying to, right? Because if there is a God, he is the abuser in this relationship. If he can hear me praying, then either he's not responding or he's responding in a way that like I can't directly interpret. Or it would be like if I had a partner that spoke Italian and I didn't speak Italian, and anytime I'd ask them a question about
Oh,
like,
I know
hey, how
you're
do I
just
do this,
fucking
whatever,
thinking of Fabio. All right, yes, we know
they
you like
respond to me
Fabio.
just in Italian. Like, how fucking abusive would that be, though? Like, you get what I'm saying, right? And it's the first language that came to mind because Fabio was on here earlier. But like, it could be any, it could be a partner that just speaks to you in Klingon. Okay.
No, there we go. Kapla!
And that's a very clingy partner.
But like, but I don't speak Klingon, and that's a freaking
Won't have a
abusive
clingy partner,
relationship.
then.
Why do I keep fucking asking? If
I
they don't
would
fucking
say you
respond in
probably
a way
speak
that I
very
understand,
good Goa'uld,
it's fucking
though.
bullshit.
Do you-
And if
do you speak
they're
good
real, they're
Goa'uld?
not worthy of my worship or respect.
Do you speak
The
good
horrible truth
Goa'uld?
is, the very unpalatable truth is, there is no God, so God isn't the abuser. It is every single person who claims to speak for God who is the abuser, yeah?
Well,
Like
yeah,
a
I mean
parent
that.
bringing their child into
Yeah,
religions, not
but I
being
think
abusive,
this
they're
is
doing
just-
what they think, right? But
This is just
priest-
referring to like when we first, what was the
the mic drop moment.
right?
I mean,
That's how
those,
I
those
answered it.
thoughts are good to have when you are trying to, when you're realizing that God doesn't exist, right? Like, of course, God isn't actually the abuser, but those line of thoughts can help you understand why the logic's not adding up and it doesn't make sense, So.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
So, seeing as everybody's getting to the end and all the rest, but what I will do is we'll give a shout out to everybody in the chat except for Holy Spackle. The only reason that I mention her is because she's shown proof of life. Okay, proof of life is very important in a hostage situation. We are working.
You did get proof of life?
Oh no, I got proof of life. I got proof of life.
Okay.
There was proof
Okay.
of life, so we can continue
Because
forward.
I got scared a little bit after that DM.
You fucking did, and I'm going to talk about the missing stuffing. Okay, we're not even going to talk about the missing stuffing. And just to let you know, Holy Spackle, my mum's on Twitter. My mum seen your tweet. My mother
I saw
then
that.
showed my granny who knitted Scotty. She not happy. Okay, there may be a video appearing from my granny in the next day or so. My granny
I
is
was
not
worried.
happy.
I thought that I was worried that it was your nan that had passed. So
No. There's my nanny, and then there's my granny. My granny is my mum's mum.
okay.
My nanny is my father's mum. My granny, if you call her nanny, will shout at you and go, "I ain't no goat." She definitely is not up for playing Goat Simulator. All right. She doesn't even like calling children kids.
Don't tell Kilo that.
Goat Simulator is one of the best games that I have ever watched Student Dr. Ben play on a stream. Full stop.
I want to get my mom to play it this
Okay,
week
we're
on
gonna
Gamer
have to
Mom
play.
Cooking.
We're gonna have to play some Goat Simulator. Has anybody got?
Come by the stream on Saturday or on Friday. We'll do it.
Has anybody got anything coming up? Have we got 9 folks on screen? No, we lost Simos. Oh, poor Simos got cut off.
What?
Hold on, I'll bring him back. Oh no.
What? I'm here.
Oh no, you're still here, but.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, you are. Yeah, there you go. You are.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I lost
So-
the video feed, which is what was supposed to happen. So
Ah.
actually, what happened. There you go.
And there we are.
So, has
They
anybody
were
got anything
enlarged.
happen? Anybody got anything coming up? Well, I'll jump over to Brina. Brina,
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Shut up,
Brina,
Simon.
go ahead.
Shut up. Shut up.
I'm shutting up. I'm
Shut up.
shutting up.
Shut up.
I am.
Brina, I
Yes,
assume
hi.
since Savage is a Patreon, then you would obviously have a channel. Would you like to shout? And if you talk in the live chat, I will mod you and you can link your channel.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yes, I have a channel. It's Brina Rice. I do post some atheist content, but that's not really all I do. I pretty much just talk about whatever social, cultural, controversial issues I feel like talking about that day. So if you want to come check that out and join in the conversation, yeah, go check me out. I have Patreon and I have my own Discord channel. So
I highly recommend.
As I say something in the live.
Pleasantly surprised that there was like I wasn't expecting to get on here and be like, oh, I'm on their Patreon. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wasn't
I saw you.
expecting
I
that.
was like,
that was
"Oh,
nice.
She does that. The first time that Savage popped on mine as well, it was completely out of the blue, and she was already a member of the fucking channel as well. She popped on. She's like, "Hi, I've been looking for ages." It's like, okay, yeah, thanks. You can't say no. It's one of the tiers of being a member or a Patreon. If you give me money, I can't say no to you coming on my panel. So
I think Luke is threatening me in the chat. He just said, Best be doing her own answers to these questions. Okay, all right. Well, I'll put that on my to-do list. Thank you, Luke.
maybe he was saying that I don't need to answer for you. I don't know.
Savage, have you anything coming up?
Well, as usual, on Fridays, I do have Gamer Mom cooking with my mom. I'm going to see if I can get her to play some Goat Simulator. I don't know what we're cooking, if we're cooking this week. We might, we're both vegetarian, so that's not quite going to work. But if we can get some, like, Morningstar goat, you know, faux goat.
Faux goat.
Tofu goat?
Goat substitute.
Can you get
goat,
tofu
goat
goat?
substitute? Maybe.
Toe goat.
We might be able to
Goat
make that
food.
work. But we're probably judging people on Reddit as per usual. I have some other streams that I'm working on getting on this week. I need to get like a set schedule for my other streams, but that's the only one that I have set right now. But I will be headed over to Diana's channel here in a little bit. Am I allowed to talk about that?
No, because we all don't like Diana. What the fuck? Of course, chill the fuck out of
lavender
Diana.
lady.
We can't send
my
enough
absolute
love.
very most favorite
Fucking
YouTuber
love Diana.
on this
I've
platform.
known and loved Diana longer than you've known her. So you shut up, all right? No, actually, don't shut up. Chill, Diana.
It's Diana, the Lavender Lady. She's absolutely wonderful and amazing. And if you are not familiar with her channel, I don't know why, but like go over and give her a follow. Give her a sub. She is going through some shit right now. She needs a kidney. So we are working on trying to get Diana a kidney. So that's why I got to hop off here in a minute is to go over there. We're going to kind of schedule a little bit. I think we're going to do maybe a 12-hour stream and get people signed up for if we can get like hotel stays and then like people to sign up to be like her caretaker because she's going to need probably a caretaker for a good 8 weeks and like a chauffeur and stuff. So do keep your eyes peeled for that. And then, like I said, go over and follow the Lavender Lady. She's amazing, awesome, wonderful, awesome person.
I don't know who Phoebe has coming up, but if anyone hasn't seen Phoebe's last interview, Viva La Blanca.
Viva La Blanca. That's one of the most butchering names.
Viva La Blanca.
Come on now. I'm trying to make it funny. I'm a
I
host
feel like
here.
you didn't
It's
even-
my
you didn't
job.
even say it wrong.
It's fucking my
just
job
like
to make
the
this shit
timing of it.
entertaining. It's my job to make this shit.
I'm gonna clip that out and send that to them. Viva La Blanca. Jeez Louise.
Would you like me to get like a wee Spanish dress and do like a thing and all? Like, go on ahead.
As long as you don't do Mathkini,
We all love. Look, I know you love the Mathkini. All right, as someone.
I don't want to see your maracas.
Shocker, not a shocker. Before we've come online and on stream and actually live before, Phoebe has sat in front of the camera with one leg here and the other leg there. I'm not even doing. It's like she's feisty. You're fucking shouting at me about the Mathkini.
Anyway, This weekend, I have Natalie Washington on my stream. It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock UK time, which is 3 p.m. Central Time, or 4 p.m. for those of you that live in places like New York. Come and watch. We're both footballers. She's a footballer. She runs the group Football v Transphobia and Football v Homophobia. And last week, you should check out my channel at youtube.com/PhoebeJRose, and you can check out the Villa Bianca stream, and you can check out other stories where I interview non-cisgender people about gender and gender identity and what it means to them. And I have to go because I
Hold on. Before you go, are you starting a show where you interview cis people? Did you say that? No?
No, non-cisgendered people.
For fuck's sake, well, if you ever do the other one, I want on. Like, I need to be your first.
I can ask you about gender and what it means to you if you.
But I'm not on. I can't. Well, technically, I'm not allowed to join your.
No, but here's the thing. I could do a whole new story. I could do a whole new arc where I interview cis people and I go, well, excuse me, what does gender mean to you? And they go, what the fuck? Ah! And then they run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they realize they can't answer the question. Yeah, probably.
I can be
Anywho,
I can answer the question
beings.
and I can
Goodbye now.
Fuck
I have
you.
to go
Fuck
now.
you. Fuck off. Bye. There you go. I love Phoebe. So what I'm going to do now is Simos, I'll pass it over to you, but you've only got a Formula 1 stream going. I don't know. Does anyone else outside in the chat like Formula 1?
Yeah, everybody likes Formula One. I'll be on my Monday, 8 o'clock UK time, 2 o'clock Eastern, and please sub to my channel. I do a show with Fabio where we beat the shit out of Formula One.
I have to say, right, if you don't watch all of Simos's stream, you do have to start and watch for the first 5 minutes. 5 minutes, because Simos's intros are absolutely fantastic.
Is it Fleetwood Mac?
No, it's just
No.
It's the most random description of the intro of the race that you've ever heard in your life. This guy should work for BBC One. Should write for BBC One. It's
If you come in part way, I recommend like running it back to the beginning and watching the intro.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
absolutely.
intro makes the whole fucking show. Alright, it's.
Well, to be fair, the only interesting bit of Formula 1 is the start and the end, so, you know.
Yeah, there you go. That man's seen Formula One.
I had to say it.
Good job.
Yeah, everybody, thank you very much for coming.
Monday, 8 o'clock.
Monday.
Qatar Grand Prix.
There you go. Monday, 8 o'clock for Simos. Mr. Willis, we will see you again next month, and hopefully in between panels. He does be on Discord and Twitter under the name Mr. Willis. Have I missed anything?
Brina,
No, I'm
send me an invite
shilling
to
nothing,
Discord
but
Make
if
sure
you live in the
there's a
Lake
link-
District,
Make sure there's a link for you, Mr. Willis, somewhere so I can get to you.
He's in
I'll
Cannon
get that
Wars,
arranged.
Simos. He's in Cannon Wars.
if you live in the Lake District and you're an interesting person, there's food and drink at my house.
Oh, Brina, I should invite you to Canon Wars if you're interested in coming on
Yeah,
the quiz show sometime.
Yeah, because
Sure.
Savage
Yeah,
is
there's
that-
a lot of information getting thrown at me right now, so I'm like, okay, I need to go follow all of these people, and I'm gonna forget like 2 seconds after I get off of here.
Oh no,
but-
we'll just put
so
you.
if you need me to remember, just DM me or something on Twitter so I can.
Here's
go
a
and
bunch of
check it
them
out.
Rena.
in the side chat, and I'll send you a link.
Okay.
In the,
Brina, look
and
me up on
Patreon.
Twitter. I will torture you. Look me up on Twitter. Hogfather_1.
You know, I don't know that that's a convincing argument to get me to look you up on Twitter.
I will torture
yeah,
you with
you're
fun.
overwhelming.
I'm fun.
Like-
I'm fun. All right.
And also underwhelming.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Cheers, guys. I've had a really nice evening. Thank
Right.
you.
On that note,
Take
we'll
care.
run the intro. We'll run the outro for fuck's sake. Everybody, don't forget.
Go
to
and sin. Go and sin.
Go and sin. Think for yourselves, people. That's the tagline of my channel, okay? Think for yourselves, people. Okay.